Welcome to the Sexy Freedom Media Podcast, a place to discuss pain, passion, and pursuits.
Let's get it. I want to feel alive.
Breathe.
Make some moves.
Protect the throne. This is Sexy Freedom Media Podcast.
Welcome to the Sexy Freedom Media Podcast. It's your girl, Helen Edwards Ann.
January Liddell, aloha.
Today we are talking about the word try. Try is a verb. It's an action word. I think it's often overlooked because, it's like do or do not. But try is actually a very important word for a lot of people out there trying to go after their goals or dreams, or even just trying to go for success or even live a good life. The word try means to make an attempt or effort to do something. And it is a verb, and a verb is an action. And I think I wanted to talk about this because, especially when you're in a place where you're just kind of like, I don't feel like doing anything. I don't feel like I'm going anywhere. And all of this, all these bombshells of self-doubt and your self-critic comes out. It's easy to just say, I'm not going to do anything.
So let me tell you a story, Helen. I'm so happy that we're talking about this particular word because I just talked to some ladies. I have a weekly Thursday group of ladies, 2 ladies that I talk to, and we do a devotion together. We're actually talking about the book Captivating. In any case, I shared with them yesterday, just yesterday, that I am so unmotivated. And I told them that I just don't want to do anything. And I did tell them, though, the only thing I do want to do, what I'm motivated to doing, because I'm not motivated to work, but I am motivated to heal. And I am motivated to spend time with my husband and with my children. So a lot of family time. So that is what I'm motivated to doing. But there's a part of me that feels guilty about me stepping back from my work because, and you and I, Helen, are such hustlers. You and I are go, go, go. Let's do this. Let's do this. Let's get this goal done. However, there comes a time, or there is a time right now in my life where I'm like, I don't want to do anything. And it's hard to just try, the word try. I will say this though. What I am trying to do is do a little at a time. And just doing that little bit of something helps. And it helps me move the needle a little bit forward. So I'm meeting myself where I'm at. I'm not giving myself scoldings. I'm not giving myself a hard time, but what I am doing is giving myself grace. So even if I just try just one thing, whether it be talking to a client, whether it be reading something that's about the financial industry, whether it be changing my bio, which I just did today, changing my bio, or just reaching out to my team members. So even if I just do one of those things, then I feel like I've tried in my own capacity. I've tried. I think the biggest downfall is when we quit, when we just say, nope, I'm not going to do anything and I'm just going to hide under the covers, which I want to do that. Actually, there are moments where I do want to do that. And I'm not sure. I don't know if I am going through a sense of depression or a sense of like transformation. I'm not really sure what it is. So I'm waiting until I see my therapist so I can actually have this conversation with them. But either way, there are moments where I just want to hide under the cover and not do anything. And that's where the trying ends, is when you're just under the covers and you don't choose to do anything. Helen, why did you choose to talk about this topic?
Well, thank you for sharing your story, January, because I think so many of us can relate to that. I know I can. I, I mean, one of the reasons why I wanted to talk on this subject was because it's such a small word, but it has such a big impact. And I have a mindset of go, 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 hustle, 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 like you do. And it gets overwhelming. And I just thought to myself, I was in a funk. I was in a funk, like you said, like I'm unmotivated. I don't know if it's underlying depression. Well, I actually did. I got super depressed like a couple weeks ago. And the depression was so real and it was so strong and I felt debilitated by it. And there's something that triggered it, but I'm not going to talk about it because I'm not ready yet to, but I, in any case, I think many of us have points that happen to us like that, where we're just like debilitated by fear, we're debilitated by depression, we feel stuck, we feel like we're not going anywhere. And then once you allow that to come in, your mind gets hijacked by your inner self critic, your inner self doubter, your inner depression, your inner, triggers, your inner negativity, that any toxicity that has still been living in your cells, any toxicity that has been living in your programming. And that's kind of what happened to me. It just all came to surface and it just overtook me. And I was fighting. I could tell I was fighting with myself because there's that higher energy of ourselves that's just like, no, no, not today, Satan, right? But you feel like you're drowning. So I said to myself, just try. If don't journal today, don't feel like you have this to-do list. Stop trying to please everything you think you have to do in your mind. Just shut it all down and just try. And the try was linked to just try to get out of bed. Just try to wash the dishes. Just try to do some laundry today. Just try to work out. If you don't do anything but just try to get to the next step, then I will be so happy that you completed that one act of service for yourself today. And I didn't know it, like I wasn't aware of it, but it was my higher self telling me how to pull myself out of the depression, how to pull myself, out of the storm I was in, because storms are going to happen. What goes up must fall down. What falls down must go get back up. If you choose that, it's all seasonal change. And this was my season to go through depression. And it was my season to go through the storm. It was my time to go through the obstacles and the struggles because my higher self knew, and your intuition knew something that you maybe weren't aware of because you were completely focused on the negativity and completely focused on the darkness around you. But your higher self and that inner bigger spirit, some say God, some say universe, whatever you choose to believe, knew there was light at the end of the tunnel and knew that you had to go through this to gain the muscle of resiliency and perseverance, right? So that intuition was helping me. That inner voice was helping me and fighting for me to say, just try to swim, try to float, try.
I'd like to think that we each have a warrior inside of us. So we have a warrior, and that warrior can be overwhelmed and can be dulled at times. And, just like you said, it was a season. It's a season that we may go through again. And I'd like to call it a transformation because I think when we go into these hard times, into these challenging moments where we feel like we just can't do it anymore, that's the time when we're actually growing. And that's the time, like your warrior came out, my warrior came out. And even though the warrior was weak, the warrior told us, Holy Spirit, God, whatever you'd like to say, right? But in any case, that energy inside of us told us, just do at least one thing. And those small wins are fire. They're fire because it told me that, oh, I got this. I did this. And I felt so accomplished when I just made my bed, when I just got dressed, when I just washed my face, drank water, something small. And I met one of the things that I really appreciate is meeting me where I'm at or meeting the person where they're at because everyone's going through something and we may not know it. Like for me, I'm pretty sure anybody who sees me walking down the street, I'm smiling, I'm fine. However, behind that smile are waterfalls of tears, are really hard times that I've gone through. So I love that we talked about this word trying. So here's another thing I'd like to share. There is this movie. I love Korean drama. So Korean drama is my favorite, but it's dangerous because then I don't sleep until 2:30 in the morning because I'm like, just one more, just one more. In any case, the last one I saw is called Love Next Door. And there was a scene in there where it talks about the kiln. I think it's called the kiln. It's a an oven where potters put their creation into it, and then it heats it up and creates this coffee pot or whatever you made. The scene in there talked about how each item that goes into the fire may not always be the same. In fact, there are moments where it's shattered, there are moments where it's broken, there are moments where the creation becomes deformed. So it's when this particular creation is put into the fire, and that's how it'll determine what kind of creation will come out. But the whole putting ourselves into fire or being in a fire, I associate that with whatever I was going through in terms of depression, in terms of the healing phase, in terms of whatever. That was fire. I'm still in it. I'm still in the fire. And it's the word try every single moment, not day. I'm talking about moment because our minds can play tricks on us. Our minds are where the battlefield is. And it's in that battlefield where we need to use the word try. We need to say the word try. That warrior in us has to push us up and just say the word, just try one more time. One more, just try. So thank you, Helen, for sharing this word with us.
Oh, yeah. So I wanted to share the 4 concise key points on the science of perseverance because the word try is associated with perseverance. Because when you're trying, you are persevering. So the key points to remember with perseverance is 1, growth mindset. You may not see it, but when I was going through my little storm and you're going through your storm right now, or you're in that darkness, or you feel, because our emotions that they're supposed to feel, they're fillers for us, right? But our intuition, our warrior, is the one really kind of pulling us out and trekking us through and saying, hold my hand. That higher part of ourselves is the growth mindset. So people with a growth mindset believe abilities can be developed through effort, learning, and persistence. The mindset fosters resiliency and encourages individuals to view challenges as opportunities for growth. So when you are trying to make it through the storm, you don't realize it, but you're actually working that growth mindset muscle. The second thing is dopamine and motivation. You talked about motivation earlier, January. So the brain releases dopamine when we set and achieve goals, creating a reward cycle that fuels motivation. So this chemical boosts encourages us to keep trying even when we're faced with setbacks. So again, we don't realize it, but when we're trying, we're actually releasing that dopamine. And the motivation is kind of like, come on, you could do this. There's small rewards, and those rewards may be having good, like nice breath, right? Because you got to get out of bed and brush your teeth. So the reward is you're going to have nice, clean mouth, not bad breath. Okay. The third thing is neuroplasticity. So the brain's ability to rewire itself through experiences means that repeated efforts Repeated efforts to overcome challenges strengthen neural connections, making perseverance a learned skill that improves over time. So when you say, I'm going to just try, I'm going to keep going, I'm not going to give up, I'm just going to try, even a baby step forward, you are practicing repeated efforts to overcome your challenges, and you're strengthening your neural connections. That's actually quite fabulous. I can't talk. The fourth thing, stress tolerance. So you're going through this storm, you're feeling the funk, you're feeling it like you're in a dark place, you're experiencing stress, okay, can enhance your resilience by training your brain to handle adversity. So learning to manage stress effectively increases one's capacity to persevere through difficult situations. These are really good. You may not see it, which I didn't see it at the time, that by me just trying, I was improving so much overall of my perseverance muscle. I didn't realize I was working that perseverance muscle. And who knows down the line if there's worse things to come, which there always can be something worse, right? Who knows if this little dark cloud that I thought I was in, let me not actually say little, because it was actually a big dark cloud for me. And it was scary at moments, but I didn't realize by stretching out my muscle for trying was helping me get better at facing perhaps a much darker place that can come in the future. So I really believe that the word try can save us in small and large situations if we just say to ourselves, just try, don't give up. Just try, don't give up.
I love the four tidbit of information. It's not tidbit, but it's a huge tidbit of information that you shared with us, because you're right, it's that muscle memory of trying, and that actually makes me feel good. That makes me feel so much better, because then I'm like, oh, okay, so I was in the gym. I was in the gym, in my mental gym, just trying, and who knows, this bout of trying in the past month, 2 months, however long I've been doing this, it's actually going to help me in the long run. I think also that this is helping anybody that we're surrounded by, all our listeners, right? If you're listening to this, I'm wondering how you're feeling, and when have you tried? When have you had to use the word try when things were down? And we would love to hear what you have to say. And, this is our chance of sharing our experience, and we're hoping that this is going to bring you value and give you a sense of, yes, let's try. I think we should have a shirt that says try on it. and have that as our motivator. We are going to come across a lot of different challenges in life. Life is not linear. Life is not just a bed of roses, but there's a lot of different things that come our way. Why? Because it's the human experience, and we just have to take it. It's like that saying, roll with the punches. So take it as it goes and just try.
Yes, and also when you're faced with fear, because when you're feeling depressed, when you're feeling unmotivated, when you're feeling like you can't, when you feel your self-doubt, inner critics, just over comparison, it's all stemming from fear. A lot of it is, okay? A lot of it's stemming from fear. And maybe that fear is I'm not good enough, or there's a fear of rejection, or there's a fear of I can't do it, or there's a fear of I'm going to lose more than I'm going to gain. So I really love the acronyms for fear. One of the most well-known ones is false evidence appearing real, right? The second well-known one is forget everything and run. But the one that I personally love is face everything and rise. And Marie Forleo talks about it in her book, Everything's Figure Outable, which I'm reading right now. And I love that mantra. I've been saying it all week to myself. Everything's figure outable. Everything's figure outable. Everything's figure outable. Because I have a self-doubter and a self-critic in my head that is so mean, and she's kind of evil, to be honest. And she can really put me down and stomp me to the ground. And she's been there my whole life. And, at before I understood the programming that I had in my upbringing, before I could say, hey, I'm going to do something about this, uh, I developed her to make her even stronger when I agreed with her. Yes, you're right. I'm dumb. I'm not smart enough. I'm this, I'm that. Yep, yep, yep. When I was really super negative. But when I did start saying to myself, no, I'm changing this program in my head. I need to start fighting this. I need to get better. I need to reprogram my mind. I got stronger with it, but she's still there. She still comes out in moments of darkness. And that's when I say to myself, I'm capable. I am smart. Everything is figure outable. If somebody else could do it, I could do it. Success belongs to those who didn't give up. And I'm not giving up. So by law of the universe, success belongs to me because I have not given up. Success belongs to you, January, because you haven't given up. We may take breaks, which breaks are normal and breaks are actually really healthy for us. And we may fall down 1,000 times, but we keep getting back up, which again, success belongs to those who don't give up. And I'm starting to really understand there's a promise. There is a promise made by the universe. There's a promise made by God that success does belong to you. Love belongs to you. Great, beautiful, and happiness belongs to you. And you've got to own it. And I'm really starting to understand that and say to myself, you haven't given up. Okay, sure, you were swimming in darkness. Sure, you almost gave up. You wanted to give up, but I didn't let you. So by default, everything your heart desires belongs to you. That is the promise. And that to me feels so good when I think about that, because it's like, okay, it has to happen. Sure, 2 years, 7 years, 10 years, you may think you've gotten nowhere, but it goes back to that saying, the life you live is the life you dreamt about 10 years ago. So if you step back and look at that big picture, success was promised to you because you didn't give up through those 10 years. And look at you now. Look at the place you're in now. So think about it like that. The promise is there. The evidence is there. So if you can step back and see your blessings and count your blessings and acknowledge your blessings, like you said, January, right where you're at, then the evidence is already there that success belongs to those who don't give up.
With that said, mic drop. Thank you. I felt so inspired. Now I just want to try even harder. But also meet me where I'm at. So, Helen, this is a snack bite type of podcast. Where can we find you?
I'm excited to try also. I'm like, whoa, I just inspired myself. Okay. Thank you so much for listening to this awesome minisode or shorter episode that we have. I appreciate everybody who's been listening to our podcast and giving us a star review or a written review on iTunes and sharing this with your friends. Thank you so much. You can find me on Hell of a Journey with 1L on Instagram, on TikTok. Google me, I'll pop right up. You can also get my book, which is Nothing Sexier Than Freedom, available on Amazon and Audible. Also, check out our sister station, which is Your Morning Sauce. Every episode is under 6 minutes, 5 or 6 minutes, a little snack bite for your morning inspiration. And follow my journey. I'm doing behind the scenes of our podcast and behind the scenes of my journey as an author. And thank you again. January, where can we find you?
Thank you to all of the listeners and those that have shared questions with us. We appreciate you so much. It just makes our podcast grow and it makes this more engaging when we hear your voices. We have this amazing platform and we love to share your thoughts in it. So thank you. We hope that we're giving you value as well. Helen, I appreciate you. This is an amazing journey that we've been on. And I'm just so excited that even the word try, just that little word try, three letters, is such a huge thing. And I think this is one of my favorites. I have so many, but this is one of my favorites. You can find me January Liddell. That's 2 D's, 2 L's, LIDDELL.com. And you can also find me on LinkedIn, January Liddell. I'm on Facebook, Anchored Financial LLC, and also Instagram, Anchored Financial LLC. I have a book called Alina the Super Saver. It's a children's book about financial literacy. I was not taught financial literacy growing up, so I made a lot of mistakes, which is why I'm in this industry, because I want to keep myself accountable. And I believe that that book will help. It's a stepping stone to much more to learn. But Alina the Super Saver, you can find it Barnes & Nobles, Walmart.com, Amazon. There's a lot of different platforms where you can find Books A Million, I believe it's in. So thank you so much. And to all the listeners, aloha.
Ahi, everyone.
Want to hear more?
Visit us at sexyfreedommedia.com.